We are just blowing through these. Yeah, I don't even know how many chapters are in Exodus. Does it show you at the beginning? No, it does not. But it does show the page numbers, and it's approximately the same number of pages as Genesis. Then we're looking at like 50? I don't even check anymore. You know, ever since I read Genesis, I don't even look at the chapters anymore. 40 chapters. So we'll be through this book even faster than Genesis. I already did it once, we're going to do it again, and then it's going to get real boring. I don't even know what's in Leviticus. The extent of my knowledge. What does it say? I want to look. Am I allowed to look? Are you guys going to be mad at me? What happens in Leviticus? What happens in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus? Numbers, that's it. Numbers, you guys know that song? Numbers, Deuteronomy. Have you ever heard about that religion? I think it's Islam. Have you ever heard of certain parts of Islam? I mean, I don't know. Someone tell me if this is incorrect. And also leave a timestamp about where I said this, because I'll forget by the time this video comes out. But it's like where they sing the first 5 books of the... It's got to be Islam. It's like a thing they sing... in order to memorize the Torah, they sing it. So like a song. Because it helps with your memory when you do that. I cannot imagine memorizing all of this. Like 200 pages of book. There's no way I could. Well, maybe I could do it sometime, but that's an unbelievable task. Oh my, what's after Deuteronomy? Joshua? Yeah. All the way up through the beginning of Joshua. Let's see where that is. 291 pages. 291 pages. That's a lot. That's a lot to memorize. Chapter 3 is called Moses in the Burning Bush. If your bush is ever burning, make sure you get it checked out. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro. Jethro Tull? Oh, his father-in-law. Wait, I thought the guy from before was... Did they not say the name of his wife's dad? I thought he was over here in chapter 2. Yeah, I thought his name was Reuel. When the girls returned to Reuel, their father. But now he's Jethro. Maybe he's starting a band. So let's just accept it. Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness, and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. They've already started naming mountains after God. Feels like when you're wandering around in World of Warcraft. I just started playing Elden Ring. I'd stopped several times because I didn't really level up and immediately ran to a boss without knowing it. And then I didn't want to lose all of my stuff, so souls? I can't remember what you collect. So eventually, after dying, I would set it down for like 2 weeks at a time, come back and die, and then stop playing for another 2 weeks. But eventually I was like, screw it, let's just run around. That world is huge! I know people have said it, but it is so awe-inspiring. When I read things in the Bible like Mountain of God, I think, oh wow, it must be like Elden Ring. There's like stuff that is miles away in the distance, and you know that you can go there. It's, God, I want to play Elden Ring right now. I don't want to be doing this. I want to play Elden Ring now that I've thought about it. It's just so I can get stronger before I go back and fight the same guy who was just destroying me over and over again. It's infuriating. I even summoned someone to help me. Not a real-life human, just an NPC. If anyone has any advice on how to defeat, his name's Midgar or Michelle. He starts with an M. I'll stick with Midgar, even though that's from Final Fantasy VII. There's a guy who starts with an M, and he's got a big glowing hammer. He has a sword at first, and he throws glowy knives at you, and then he switches to a big hammer, like a Thor hammer, but it's like molten lava. And even if you block it, it damages you. If you know how to beat that guy, let me know. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Another thing I've never understood is why they call it the angel of the Lord, because I always thought that meant like an angel from God, but I think they literally mean God in this case, because it's like it's a famous story, the burning bush, and it talks to Moses. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. Have you ever heard that thing about how if you showed technology to people from ancient times, they would think it's magic? And then if you showed magic to people of modern times, they would think it's technology? We have this exact fire illusion. You can buy like lighting sets that make it look exactly like fire, but it's like a projection. If you showed that to, maybe that's what Moses saw. He just saw technology from far, and he saw a time traveler. And he's like, oh, this has to be God. The bush isn't burning up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight. Why the bush does not burn up. Again, love the formality. I wish I had that type of composure if I saw something impossible in front of me. I will go look and see what this thing is. That is not supposed to happen. It's like, imagine you see like David Blaine like floating over London and be like, I will go look to see if this man is really flying. When the Lord saw he had gone over to look, God called him from within the bush. Moses, Moses. And Moses said, here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. I wonder if that's just temporary or if, like, if you went back to this place today, it would still be holy ground. Is it just because God's there in this moment that the ground is now holy? Or does this place still exist somewhere in the Middle East or the northern tip of Africa, wherever Midian is? Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Oh, right, because Moses is actually a descendant of Abraham, still. He's still in the family line. He's a Levi. He was born to the line of Levi. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. That's good instinct. A lot of people die just from looking at God. There's some point, I mentioned this in a past video, but at some point, I think it's Moses, finds God on a mountain or goes to talk to God on a mountain, and then God's like, he goes, let me see your face, and God goes, no, you'll die. And he goes, but I wanna, and he goes, you can look at my back. My big hairy, do you think God has a hairy back? I have a hairy back. Am I godlike? The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. So he knows. That's good. He peeled back the clouds in the last chapter. We saw that he looked down and he was like, this is not good. I heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I'm concerned about their suffering. That's good. So God has empathy to a degree. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land. If I was told I'd be given spacious land, I'd be happy. That's what people in Texas like. They like to have big, spacious land and very little interaction with others. A land flowing with milk and honey. Those would be highly prized back then because they didn't have factory farming and bees weren't endangered. The home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites. We've heard all of these people. Hivites and Jebusites. So all those people are still there, I guess. Oh, and I think this is the ones that are going to... I can't. Why do I do that? I always want to talk about what's coming, what I think is coming. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I've seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. I was watching television for a really long time and didn't think to pause it and check up on you guys. So now go. I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. Yeah. Good luck taking slaves from slave owners. We know about that, America. You guys know. You know how hard it is to convince slave owners. They do not want to give up the humans that make them money. But Moses said to God, I was going to give a little, push back a little bit on God. He didn't just say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. He's just like, well, hey, what about what I think? Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Nice. Yeah, always question God when he's taking the form of an unburning bush. Why is that the way he chose to appear? That just seems like such a specific way of introducing yourself. And God said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, not if, but when you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. On this here mountain. God mountain. Well, that's a nice little proposal from the Lord God Almighty. Moses said to God, he's still responding. He still has things to say. Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me. It's not that far back even, just like a few generations. That same God from like your great-great-grandpa. Suppose I say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me, and they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them? So they're doing like a little security check. Oh yeah, well if God sent you, then what's his name? Moses is just thinking through all the contingency plans he needs. God said to Moses, I am who I am. Not a lot of people can get away with that. I might start saying it more often. You were like, what's your name? I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. Now, brief pause to say, I think there's some sort of like language play here in Hebrew. The fact that he says I am, it like means something more clever in not English. Because it is confused. I was always very confused by this when I would hear it as a kid. I am who I am. But I think it's like also literally his name or something. So yeah, it's a weird mix of like English grammar and what I think is supposed to be his name. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. That way he doesn't have to give a name. You can just be like, you remember all those guys? Same God. This is my name forever. The name you shall call me from generation to generation. I am. Go! Assemble the elders of Israel. It's like the Avengers again. God's really giving some pretty specific instruction. And say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's repeating it just for good measure, in case, they didn't have smartphones back then. You couldn't just record the conversation. He appeared to me and said, I have watched over you and have seen what has been done to you in Egypt. So he's telling Moses to tell them all of this. Who are the elders in this context? There's already elders, even after just like a couple generations from one guy, all from Jacob. It's like, yeah, these are from Abraham, but it's just like Jacob's descendants that make up all these Israelites. And I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt into the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. There was no need for that whole paragraph. He already told that to Moses, unless they're just telling us that he repeated it to Moses, so he definitely wouldn't forget. It's just more like Bible fluff that I haven't understood this whole time. The elders of Israel will listen to you. Then you and the elders are to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, so okay, he's going to gather up all the elders, they're all going to come and go, hey, let all your slaves go. The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Something tells me the Pharaoh's not going to care much about what the Hebrew God says. Let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to our Lord God. Okay, they're starting off easy. Just a little foot in the door. They're not asking to leave permanently. They're just saying, hey, let us go make some sacrifices. We haven't done that in a while. You know that mountain that we call God Mountain? We haven't been able to make any sacrifices to it. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. You talking about his own hand? So I will stretch out my hand, yep, and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform among them. It's ominous. After that, he will let you go. So God does know what's going to come. Even though he wasn't really checking up on his Israelites for a while, he's perfectly aware of the future, according to what he's saying here. And we know that he's definitely going to deliver. And I will make the Egyptians favorably disposed toward this people. I don't know what that means exactly. I thought disposed, favorably disposed? So that when you leave, you will not go empty-handed. So the Egyptian people will be disposed of in a favorable way to the Hebrews. That's how I'm going to read that. And they're like, good, we got all the loot. You have all the Egyptian stuff. Every woman is to ask her neighbor and any woman living in her house for articles of silver and gold, and for clothing. That's quite an ask. Tell everyone to just ask for silver and gold from other people, which you will put on your sons and daughters. So I guess that's the clothing. Maybe it's the silver and the gold too. And so you will plunder the Egyptians. Pretty bold plan from God. Just walk around, ask for silver and gold and for clothing. Take it all from the Egyptians. Put it on your children. It's a perfect plan. There's no way any of this goes wrong. Come back to me after you've done that, and we'll talk. Things are starting to get spicy. Things are getting spicy for the Hebrews. They gotta take some plunder. Some plunder from the Egyptians. Find out exactly what kind of plunder they take in chapter 4. See you guys for the next one.